Hello, everyone. I'm Jacqueline Coley, and welcome to Seen on the Screen, brought to you by Make It Universal and Rotten Tomatoes, where we talk movies with some of the people behind the scenes at NBC Universal. When entertainment works best, it opens a window into a world we've never imagined. It can show us a mirror image of our lives and offer us a heightened sense of home. Today, we're going to dig into the question, what have you seen on the screen that does that? My guest today is John Cantú. Hi, John. Thank you so much for joining us. I think the first question we have to ask is the question everybody wants to know. What do you do at Universal?
Well, hi, my name is John Cantú. I am a trailer editor at Universal with our internal creative team. I'm the guy that sits at the computer when a movie comes in and we figure out how to put it together. I'm the guy actually, on the keyboard, chopping up the movie and figuring out what music, what scenes, all of the things that you see in a trailer. I'm the guy that's like putting it all together. Even though I work with, producers, graphics folks, music supervisors, but I'm the guy that's physically actually assembling the marketing pieces together.
Stitching everything together, as they like to say. If just your general personality and your job didn't tell me, your shirt also tells me you probably love movies. What brought you into entertainment? Because I'm guessing, just again, based on looking at you, it's a lifelong passion, right? Yeah,
I mean, I always loved movies. My dad was in the Air Force, and he would, at the commissary on the Air Force, he would always buy, dating myself here, laser discs.
Oh, yeah.
And so we had tons of laser discs. We'd have all of his, thrillers and crime movies and comedies, some stuff I probably shouldn't watch, The Godfather. He got me through that original trilogy. He's like, this is art. This means something. This is special. My dad gave me a love of film very early on, but it was just kind of like a far off dream. I was more into music growing up. And so I would produce and make beats while I was in high school. And at some point, I just realized that, editing was very much like making beats, but with pictures. So later I saw, as a college student, this little Brazilian movie called City of God.
Little movie, yeah.
Yeah, a little movie, which completely blew my mind, made me realize, the editor's the one that has all the fun. And it was kind of a full circle moment because I got to introduce my dad to that. This is my Goodfellas. This is my Godfather. So I think City of God was when I really saw just the possibilities of what cinema could be.
Yeah. I do love that all three of those great crime movies, great visceral and some would say violent, but I would just say very in your face action movies. And they're also very quotable, which is a great sort of transition to our first. I'm going to pull out my first popcorn bucket. This is actually a bucket full of quotes of movies. Nothing threatening's in here, I promise. A bucket full of quotes of stuff that I know you've probably seen on screen. And I'm going to say the quote, and then if you can tell me exactly what the film is, and then maybe if it's significant to you somehow. You don't have to thank me, brother. You just have to pay me. And the Lord's standard fee for rescue is $200.
That is from Born in East LA, and that is Tony Plana.
Yeah.
Born in East LA, for those who don't know, is a 1987 classic written and directed by Cheech, and he plays a guy from East LA that is basically caught in an immigration raid, but he left his wallet at home, so nobody knows that he's a citizen. So he gets basically taken across the border, and he's trying to get back, but nobody believes him that he's an actual citizen. And so hilarity ensues.
Hilarity ensues is the perfect way to describe that.
Yeah. But I think what was interesting about the movie later growing up is, so my dad's Mexican, and I didn't grow up speaking Spanish, and Cheech's character in the movie doesn't speak Spanish either. So it's a real fish out of water that he's in Tijuana and he has no way of communicating. He's basically kind of learning on the fly. And it's really about being stuck between two worlds. And it's kind of this feeling that I think a lot of Mexican Americans have about not being American enough and not being Mexican enough. and just the push and pull of that. But it's not at all like a heavy movie. It's just a fun comedy with a lot of heart. And yeah, it meant a lot to me growing up because it wasn't the first time I saw myself per se, but it was the first time I think I understood myself.
Oh, that's weird. Yeah. Well, that's really like profound way of looking at it. And the fact that it was a comedy, because I think a lot of people think of like a drama or a coming of age story where they're like, oh yeah, that was me. I like that you found yourself in comedy. Like, is that, I mean, maybe that's calling it on the nose a little bit too, a little bit of a jokester comedian inside.
I think that I think it's really more of the fact that there just was not a lot of movies about Mexican Americans.
Fair.
I think that there was just such a dearth of movies to see yourself in that it's kind of, there was like La Bamba and then there was Born in East LA. Like
wow,
that's almost all you had. And then something like Stand and Deliver, which I love, but I didn't necessarily see myself or understand myself, in those terms. And so, yeah, Born in East LA, I think, just kind of stands out because it is this kind of one of one type of movie that, we can just have like fun entertainment, but also there's something deeper.
Yeah, and I think it's a great example of comedies giving something deeper like that.
Totally.
Let's go back to the bucket. Another quote. This is a favorite of mine. I'm a bank robber, not a teacher, but we can try it your way.
I'm going to guess that's Out of Sight.
Good guess, sir. This one's a favorite of mine too, Soderbergh. Tell me about you and when you first saw that one, maybe.
Out of Sight, I think, is kind of it might have been like a later Soderbergh. I mean, it was kind of after the Traffic, Aaron Brockovich 2000 when he set the world on fire. It was definitely after, Ocean's 11 when he seemed like he could just do no wrong. He still can do no wrong.
Yeah,
but Out of Sight, I think, was a little later, and I was kind of going through heist crime films because I realized I love films about process and like how things get done. And that's what all of Soderbergh's movies are about. They're about how do systems work? How does a heist get pulled off? How does a virus work? How does the NBA work? All of his films are very much about process and then following them through the most interesting people you've ever met. And I just remember watching it for the first time and just being blown away with how natural everything felt, how lived in every character seemed. I could almost understand everyone's backstory while watching that movie, and then also the editing. I think it was one of the last movies that Steven Soderbergh himself did not actually cut.
Yeah.
And I later learned it was cut by someone named Ann V. Coates, who cut a little movie called Lawrence of Arabia.
Just a little one.
And the editing in that movie is just so playful and really it has this energy. And this is someone who's been editing. I mean, she cut Lawrence of Arabia like 40 years before. And there's just an energy. There's a sexiness to it. There's just like a real, it was one of those movies where I just keep going, wow, the editor's the one that gets to have all the fun.
Oh, tell me some other editing inspirations for yourself. I mean, there's a ton of folks that have been cutting great movies for a while, but are there ones that you sort of look at and you're just like, yeah, I want to see what they cut next?
Yeah, I mean, well, the one on top of mind right now, obviously, is Jennifer Lame. I mean, with Oppenheimer, she's definitely in the pole position. I'm sure by the time this comes out, she'll be the Oscar winner, Jennifer Lame.
Fingers crossed, kids. Yeah. Fingers crossed.
But I mean, listen to this resume: like Hereditary, Marriage Story, Wakanda Forever, Oppenheimer, and that's kind of one of those things where, as an editor, you always get to change. I feel like directors often get known for like, oh, they do dramas or they do comedies or they do horror movies. Editors genre shift all the time.
Yeah.
And so Jennifer is an inspiration. Obviously, the great Verna Fields, who cut Paper Moon, Jaws, American Graffiti, is a personal inspiration of mine, and I have I guess we can talk about the personal connection there later. The late great Sally Minky.
Did Pulp Fiction.
Yep, Pulp Fiction.
All of Quentin's movies for pretty much.
All of Quentin's movies before Django.
Yeah.
So I love editors who can kind of adapt to the movie, but you also know when you see a movie cut by them. I mean, Thelma Schoonmaker. I mean, the great Martin Scorsese is not the great Martin Scorsese without Thelma Schoonmaker.
Yeah.
And another thing that I notice while I'm listing all these is the majority of them are women.
Yeah. It used to be thought to be women's work.
It was thought to be. It's funny. My mom's a quilter, and I think of my job often as quilting in a way. But it was thought of as women's work until, I mean, I don't know if the guys just realized, well, this is where all the fun is, or whatever it is. But I always I'm always cognizant of, all of my heroes are mostly women.
And I love that too, because what do they say? There's so many of those pairing combinations that have made some of the greatest movies that we've seen. You named a lot of them. Yeah. Let's go back to our quotes here and take a peek. We have, this is a favorite of mine too. You're so adorable. Maybe I'll eat you.
I just recently saw this. It was the first movie my 2-year-old son, made it all the way through. That would be Migration. I think that's like the herons when they're talking to the mallards.
Yeah. Well, tell me what that was like, because I know as a parent, you definitely dream about the first movie you give your kid, and then that usually happens what you've kind of alluded to. They don't make it all the way through. They can't watch it. They can't have the attention span for it. So this is the one where you made it to the finish.
Yeah, I won't mention the other two because I really like them, but but yeah, he really. I think there was something to just the comedy. He kept saying ducks, ducks. And he was transfixed when they did that salsa cover of Survivor. He was just dancing in his seat, and I was like, that's my son. So yeah, it was a magical little screening.
So you will always be a Migration fan, like through and through. It's like the merch is coming. Yeah. This is like going to be a memorabilia moment for you.
That one's always going to be a special one to me because I'm always going to remember my son dancing in his seat. I'm always going to remember, well, he made it all the way through, but trying to corral him back to the seat. And then as soon as that song comes on, just him lighting up. And it's kind of the first time I can remember in a movie theater something magical happening with him.
Oh, that's so great. Give it up for Migration, everyone. Yeah. And for our bucket of quotes. You did perfect. You remembered all of the quotes. So I don't know why you were scared, but...
I didn't know what you were going to pull out on me.
I mean, we got another bucket that we're about to open up. So maybe this one will be the one. I don't think it's going to trip you up either, though. This is going to be our trivia bucket. And this is going to be about trivia of some things that maybe you've seen on screen. So I'm going to basically give you a question and you have to let me know, is it true or false?
Gotcha.
Based on, again, something that you've maybe seen on screen. Here we go. Filmmaker Don Bluth has directed or co-directed a total of 15 animated films. True or false?
Even though he's been at it for a while, I'm going to go less. I'm going to go false. Yes.
Yeah, completely right, sir. He only did 11. Give us a couple of Don Bluth's. I know them, but I don't think everybody knows the greats that Don Bluth has done or co-done.
Well, Don Bluth has 3 formative films for me. He's got Secret of NIMH, his first feature-directed movie, and then he's got American Tail and The Land Before Time for Universal. And all 3 of those are just so formative for when I was a kid. I had those VHSs. That was before Laserdisc. I had those VHSs and they all were worn out at one particular scene. Like when Littlefoot finds the Great Valley, there's a there was a video hit because I had just worn that VHS out. I think what's special about Don Bluth, and I mean, people forget, Universal owned animation in the 80s. Don Bluth was unafraid to scare you, to traumatize you, to make you sad. Because at the end of the day, he was going to bring you out of it and your heart was going to grow like 10 times bigger.
Yeah. By
the end of all those movies. You're going to go through it. And he trusted that kids could handle that. And I really think because those movies were so important to me and I watched them over and over, I really do feel like it made me a more empathetic person because they're very sincere. They're not like making satirical inside jokes. The emotions are just on the sleeves. Like Littlefoot and Fievel are depressed in the movie.
Yeah.
And then when that big James Horner movie music comes in, you just can't help but smile and, cry happy tears.
I will say that. The one I put forth is how much he scared me. Secret of the Nim was a movie. It took me years to revisit because how much it scared me as a kid, but I loved it. I was like, oh, that's that movie I love. I can never watch again.
It's super violent too.
Yeah.
Like there's spiders getting smashed and people getting stabbed.
And then the murderous Jared or whatever, he was murderous. And I was like, he's going to get me. But it's fine because now I love it. And I would get it tattooed on me.
It out.
Yeah. Here we go for another bit of trivia for you, sir. Spike Lee moved his 1989 film Do the Right Thing from Paramount to Universal to avoid giving the film a cheesy ending. True or false?
I know this because I've actually read his film journals about this. That is very true.
Yeah. I love the story about Do the Right Thing for Spike has been this thing where he uses it a litmus test. He was like, if people don't know whether or not Mookie did the right thing, that's the reason why he moved it from Paramount to Universal. Like, they didn't understand the movie, that kind of goes against it. But yeah, they wanted him to hug it out at the end.
Yeah. And have the We Are the World moment. Yeah.
It's not there.
I remember when I first watched that movie, sadly was not in the theater. It was on the Criterion Collection DVDs. And so after watching the movie, I devoured all of the commentaries, all the behind the scenes stuff. And, I remember Spike talking just about how racist a lot of the critical reaction was at the time. And I remember him saying, and this stuck with me forever, that no person of color has ever gone up to him and asked him if Mookie did the right thing.
Yeah.
And that really transformed not just how I thought about cinema, but also how I, viewed the world. And, it's one that, another one that me and my father discuss a lot because, it's a masterpiece just on so many levels. Whatever you think, wherever you're coming from, I think you really understand everyone in that movie and their point of view.
Yeah, there's no small parts. I mean, you have Ruby Dee, you have Danny Aiello, you have John Turturro. Everybody is just giving bars with what they're doing. Sam Jackson, pop it up in that
Love Daddy.
Yes.
Just listing all the greats.
Yes.
I remember watching it and just being like, we've just been listening to a list of all the great artists of our time for 3 minutes. You can do this in a movie?
Seriously, you can if you're Spike Lee and it's Do the Right Thing.
As an editor, I actually want to add Barry Alexander Brown to the list of editors that inspire me because Spike's known for his tracking shot where a character is staying stationary but is still floating through space. But my other favorite Spikeism in film is the double cut, where you'll see somebody hug and you'll see the hug twice, or I think Mookie and Tina kiss twice.
Yeah.
And the only other person I've seen do that is John Woo, where you'll see a stunt and you'll see it from another angle, then you'll see the stunt again.
From a different angle.
And it just, Spike is one of those directors that really challenges, okay, there's the rules, and now these are how you break them and make it even more impactful. Yeah,
because there's no film school that's telling you to do that. It's no, you already showed that once. Why are you doing it again? Because it's that cool.
Yeah.
All right, here we go. This next one, Brazilian musician Seu Jorge, who famously sang samba covers of David Bowie's songs for Wes Anderson's The Life Aquatic with Steve Zissou, plays the character Knockout Ned in the 2002 film City of God. True or false?
That is very true.
I mean, this is another one. I feel like City of God was one of those movies that you might get handed to you at you would see it on the recommendations of the local VHS place where you rented it. It wasn't a movie that everybody knew about, but it became this bigger thing once people started watching it.
Yeah, I mean, I think the fact that it was actually nominated for Best Editing at the Oscars I mean, showed just how revolutionary it was, just the energy of it. And also, what's interesting about City of God from an editorial standpoint is when you usually have like flashy editing tricks, it doesn't feel like you can feel the artifice. It doesn't feel lived in. City of God, you feel like you're there.
Yeah.
Like through every single decade that you see it, you feel like you're in the favelas. Yeah, it's such a rich movie in terms of style and character, and I feel like it really, even from an actor's standpoint, like Alice Braga became like a bit of a star, but you could feel the style even in like Tony Scott films.
Yeah.
You could feel people go, I don't know what they're cooking with, but I want some of that.
I can smell it. I
need that spice in my movie now.
It's funny that your father's obviously very much into film and into cinema, and I don't know about the rest of your family, but do they understand what you do, or was there anything that you did where they finally got it, like, oh, this, like they saw something that you did that was big enough and permeated enough for them to really get it? Was there a movie like that for you with them?
I think when I did the trailer for Get Out and everybody kind of lost their minds for a second, they're like, what is going on? This is amazing. What is this? I started getting messaged by like family and like friends of family. That was definitely one. And then the other one that really comes to mind is I got a lot of like DMs and messages when I did the trailer for Cocaine Bear.
Yeah,
because they're like, is this a real movie? Are you sure this isn't this feels like a put on? Is this for real? I was like, I assure you, it is a real movie. Yes, we made this.
And the trailer is giving you everything you're about to get. I do love that. That Cocaine, both of those were huge, not just internet moments. Those were huge pop culture moments.
Yeah, everyone was so gobsmacked. They just could not believe that this was for real. And then when you see the quality of the bear, you're like, oh, wow, they spent Hollywood money on this utterly insane concept. It was such a fun one. We got to play with, Melly Mel, White Lines, which is just like, I love playing with like 80s, 90s hip hop is my safe space. And so, anytime I get to play with like a classic like that and, reinterpreting it with a bunch of the folks who do music for our trailers, it's as fun as this job gets.
Basically all the movies that you've mentioned today, the one thing I love is not only are they incredible and cinematic, but they're also movies that sort of show what Universal can do, like the dynamic of our slate and how you really never know what you're going to get next within the DNA of Universal. We sort of start every year saying, we just want to tell great stories. Yeah. With that in mind, you've been such a great sport so far about answering my questions. This is your chance to put me on the hot seat because we're going to play a little game here. This one, you're going to ask these questions to me. We're going to dive into the world of Universal. If you can open up that globe, sir, because within there, you're going to give me some multiple choice questions based off of a movie quote, and then you're going to ask me what film that's from. So you're going to put out the quote and then give me the options, and then hopefully I should be able to guess correctly what they are.
Orale, vato. What's happening? Which movie does this quote belong to? Scarface, Fast Times at Ridgemont High, or Born in East LA?
Definitely Born in East LA.
Fast Times at Ridgemont High. That's hilarious.
Great.
That's correct, by the way.
Thank you. Fast Times would have been great.
I totally missed that scene. Yeah. All right. Where were you in 62? Which movie does this quote belong to? Apollo 13, American Graffiti, or The Breakfast Club?
I'm guessing that's American Graffiti.
That is right.
Awesome. Okay,
actually, I think that's the movie tagline.
Yeah, because it's the cruising movie, which obviously cruising movies are great. Great cruising movie from my area is Dazed and Confused.
Yeah, both. I love Linklater.
Yeah.
Looks like some sort of fucked up performance art. Is it A, Get Out, B, Candyman, C, Us?
Oh, wait a minute. Okay, so it's some fucked up performance art. It is... I want to say Candyman, but I think I'm wrong.
You want to say Candyman? So are you saying Candyman?
I'm going to say Candyman.
No, that is definitely Winston Duke from Us.
Yes, it is Us.
Yes.
I knew it was that. I
Yes,
think
when they're looking at the line in the tether. I remember this one.
Yes, I did not remember that.
I remember laughing.
Don't be mad at me, Jordan. I'm sorry.
Jordan, I remember laughing my ass off when I saw that first.
Yes, that's right.
Oh God.
I just remember him screaming, "You want some? Come get it!" Like that's what I remember.
Yeah.
I saw that one at South by too.
No, if you can get crazy, we can get crazy.
I saw that at South by. That's the problem. When you see anything at South by, you don't hear half the words because people are screaming.
Yeah.
That's the excuse I'm using anyway.
Yeah.
Keep going.
Say his name. Which movie does this quote belong to? Ouija, Origin of Evil, The Invisible Man, or Candyman?
Definitely Candyman.
Boom.
But I would love if The Invisible Man made you say his name so you could just have an embodied voice.
I mean, maybe for the sequel. One of them.
Listen, Lee Wanell, sir, I've given you where you should go. Just have the voice creep people out. It'll be like the others. John, thank you so much for telling me a little bit more about you and taking us through some of the great titles at Universal Pictures. I'm going to get you on that next quiz game. Next time I'm putting you on the hot seat. I want to thank all of you for joining us for another episode, and we'll see you all next time.